Hi, I'm Dan McCourt. I'm a co-founder of the ScaleForge Group, and with me today is Lindsey Smith from Prime Investigations. This is the first in a series of podcasts focused on the security industry. So, Lindsey, thank you so much for joining. Welcome. Please tell me how you got started in the investigations industry.
Perfect. Thanks for having me, Dan. So I got started in this industry about 8 years ago. I got my master's degree in criminal justice from Sam Houston State University. I ultimately wanted to be a homicide investigator for Houston Police Department. Here in Texas, you've got to be a street cop before you can transfer into a unit like homicide.
Sure.
And so while applying for HPD, going through the physical agility test, I'm running the actual physical agility test when I fractured my tibia plateau. You have to run
Ouch.
it in a certain amount of time, and I came in about 50 seconds over that time limit.
But you
Uh,
finished.
I did finish, bawling, crying,
Yeah.
and as I crossed the finish line, they said, you you did not make it in time. You have to come back next week and try it again. I said something's wrong with my leg. I drove myself to the emergency room, where I found out about the fracture to my tibia plateau, and called them back and said I can't retest next week. And they said, well, you're disqualified for 6 months if you can't come back next week. And
Ah.
in month 5 of 6, I found out I was pregnant with my third child. So I took that as a sign from God that I was not supposed to be a police officer for whatever reason.
Well, that's a blessing. That's an interruption to your plans, but it's a redirect. That's great.
Yes. And while it was a very depressing time in my life, giving up that career goal. But I ultimately, so one night I'm sitting on the couch, I get in an argument with somebody on Facebook in a Facebook neighborhood group who stated that there was somebody knocking on their door at 9 p.m. They were just going to open the door and shoot them for being on their property. I said, that is not how the law works. Went to the admin of that group and said, this person's an idiot and should not be in this group. And that admin said to me, well, what do you know about the law? And I said, well, I'm working on my master's in criminal justice. He said, I own a private investigations firm if you'd ever like a job. And the rest is kind of history from there. That was
So that was your introduction to private investigation. So you started working for that company?
Yes, so that was priority protection and investigations. I always give them shout outs because Tom Norris forever changed my life. I hadn't thought about being a PI. I didn't know how I would get clients. That had never even crossed my mind other than what I had seen on TV.
Oh,
And
right.
Tom
Sure.
really taught me surveillance tactics. He taught me how to run a successful business. So I owe a lot to him, and spent 3 years with his company before I opened Prime in 2021. So
Okay. So Prime has been, you have been running Prime for 5 years then.
correct, yes.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about Prime.
I started Prime. So obviously there's investigations, but we do a lot of service of process for legal documents too.
Sure.
I wanted to bring a different level of professionalism to the service of process community.
Hmm.
So, requirements in Texas are that you are 18 years old and that you don't have anything in your criminal history higher than a Class A misdemeanor. And that because it's so broad and so many people can apply, you can deal with people who do not know how to run a business,
Hmm.
and don't bring professionalism to the legal community. Like you have to be pretty on point when serving legal documents. And if you
Sure.
don't have a huge education behind that, that can lead to problems down the line.
Right. You're dealing with people who are highly educated individuals,
Sure,
and you want the face of your company to be someone that they can understand and respect when this process is happening.
absolutely. Yes, I want attorneys to respect us. When I first started out, attorneys look at process servers and think, okay, obviously you didn't go to law school like I did. You're not as intelligent. And that's not speaking for all attorneys.
No,
But
no,
I
of course.
wanted to be able to say, no, we're just as smart. We're just as good. This is just our passion, where yours is filing the lawsuits and whatever else. So,
Sure. Well, in that vein, that was back in 2021, and here you are today. What would you say that, gosh, I wish I knew then what I know now about the challenges of your industry and opening up your practice and having it thrive. But what would you tell your younger self? What would be the challenges that you're facing and how you would address them?
I think from the beginning, I should have laid out more clear expectations for what I want on my team
Hmm,
and be more assertive myself. Obviously, I had never owned a business before, and being liked is something um, that I strive to be. Like I've got to give that up sometimes and look at myself as the boss and not care about if people like me or not. But
sure.
I need things done a certain way. I need people to follow instructions. Like
Sure.
I looking back, I should have created a set of instructions from the beginning instead of having people kind of learn with me.
Sure. Clear process.
Yeah.
Yep. Transparent. I completely understand. What about in the core of investigations? Was there a big learning or an aha that you had throughout the last 5 years that was beyond business management?
Um, there is, to be a good private investigator, I can't teach you the tools to do that. It's just innate. And
Mm.
I have very select few people who have that innate knowledge to just move fluidly through any sort of investigation. So let's say you're sitting at a restaurant and your subject gets up to leave. Like you have to know internally how to smoothly follow them out the door while paying your check. It, not everybody can do investigations
Oh,
seamlessly.
sure. Sure. Well, that makes me think of perhaps you've had a case where you've changed a life, where you've saved a life or redirected one. Do any of those come to mind? And can you walk me through how your company was involved with that?
There's one that does come to mind. I got a call from a wife. Her husband had not seen his dad since he was 9 years old. He's in his 30s now. And she said, I want to find my husband's dad for him so that he can have some closure. Here's all the information we know. And she said, we know that when he disappeared in an RV that had this stripe down the side. That's about all we know. And I was like, okay, we don't have a license plate. We don't have anything. Like, yes, I've got this guy's name, didn't have a social. So it took me a few hours and hours in my world. That's me all in. Like, nobody's coming in
Uh,
my office. This is just, I'm working your
sure.
case only. Ended up tracing this guy's name to a couple different social security numbers, but I found one tied to a business way up in Washington. And when I typed in this address for him for this business on Google, there is an RV with this stripe down the side
No.
sitting in the woods back off the roadway at this address. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I just got chills because I was like, how did I do that? I don't know how I even got here. I just was consumed by a case for 4 hours and I can't even tell you my thought process that went into it. But then I went and I called the client's wife and I said, I'm pretty sure I found him. In that case, we send a letter to that parent or whoever else. We're not supposed to give them directly the info for where the person abandoned them went.
Hmm.
So we sent a letter to that address and said, somebody's looking for you. Please contact us at this. And it progressed from there. So that was just I was like, how did I do that?
That's a great story. I love that. Oh, I'm glad it was someone found versus someone lost.
Yes. And I do deal with the someone lost as well. And there's one case that comes to mind on that. It's actually a good friend's mom. It was one of my first cases I was ever given
Hmm.
back in 2018 when is that right? Yeah. Uh, Back when I worked for Priority Protection and Investigations. We still haven't found her mom.
Hmm.
I do think I found her. She doesn't want to be found. And when I
Okay.
called a specific woman who I believe is her, she basically told me to F off and never contact her again. And I was like,
Oh,
okay, well, I can't prove one way or the other this is your mom, but
sure. Well,
so
you,
we have difficulties.
yes, yes, of course. Now, thinking about again the transition from 2021 to now, it, what a difference technology has made. What a difference in terms of invasive technology that's a detriment, but also things that are helpful. Um, have things changed in your world as it pertains to clients or your business process that's involving technology in a way that's positive or negative? Are you seeing different trends happening?
Sure, the different types of cameras obviously come into play.
Mm,
Um, Higher quality cameras, smaller cameras. We've got multiple tools at our disposal that you would never know are cameras. But one thing that has changed is, when I first started out, the cell phone cameras are not what they are today.
sure.
And the easiest way to film somebody in public is going to be your phone. I can't walk into a restaurant with a huge camera and zoom in on somebody
True.
cheating on their spouse or committing insurance fraud or whatever they're doing. Your phone blends in so well. And so there are some PIs that look down on people using cell phone cam yeah, cell phone cameras
Hmm.
for surveillance, but I say all the time, like, that's our most effective way. We blend in with our community. You would never know that woman sitting over there is watching you and taking pictures of you, or so that's something that has changed in the last 10 years in the industry.
That's that's crazy. I hadn't even thought of that. I
Yeah.
know that there's the fisheye cameras that are all over the walls, but thinking
Yep.
about someone just speaking on their phone,
Yep.
it, but really not. They're filming you.
Yeah, I have used my Apple Watch actually as the control for the camera on my phone, propping up my phone next to a drink or whatever else, and actually watching what they're doing on my watch. So
Oh,
that's
that's okay.
technology has things like that are kind of cool when they happen.
So so technology has had an impact for sure.
It
It's
has, absolutely.
Has it complicated things in terms of the people that you're trying to investigate, or has it just changed the nature of the people that you're trying to investigate? Are you looking into cyber stalking or any of that kind of, or
So
maybe just talk about your overall business in terms of the kinds of cases or the kinds of services you provide in the cases that you really feel are your sweet spot.
So definitely anything cyber related is not for me. I have contacts for those types of things,
Sure.
but also if you are super tech savvy, I am not the person to call for that. I don't know why. That's just kind of a limit of my knowledge, and
Sure.
I'm happy to admit that. So we're really good with emotional human connections with our clients, making someone feel seen, heard. I say all the time, sometimes I think that I'm a therapist more than I am a private investigator. Somebody just wants to get their story off their chest and see
Hmm.
if I can do anything to help. Um, we're really good on the human connection aspect of private investigations and service of process. Um, Sorry, what was another question
No,
that you
no,
had?
no. So what I take away from that is that you are first, you're dealing with people in maybe not necessarily the worst moments of their lives, but certainly not the
Right.
best. And
Sure.
there's a crisis of some sort, and what you're providing is a human element, is uh, listening and understanding what it is that they're looking for, and then translating that into an action plan to see if it can be resolved.
Exactly. And I wrote an article for Pursuit magazine a couple of years ago about a guy that I have been trying to serve. And I reached out to him, and his wife had said, he's going to be difficult. He's never going to meet you. I'm never going to get divorced. I was like, well, that's not how it works. You're going to get divorced one way or the other. But I just happened to reach out to the guy and I said, look, you know what? I've been divorced too. It's This is just part of the process. It will get better. I know it sucks right now, but my job is just to make sure that you know she's already filed and I have to get these documents in your hand. What you do with them, I don't care. I
Right.
can't have an opinion on that. You either get an attorney, you file an answer, you let it go. I don't care. But I need to get these to you. And like I said, I've been where you have been. It will get
Sure.
better from here. And he said, okay, I'll meet you here at this time. And he said, can I get you something like a Starbucks gift card too, just to thank you? And I'm like, I'm serving you papers. Like, no, you don't have to get me anything else. Like, I'm already getting paid for this. But I was like, okay, I've made a difference to this guy and made him feel like a
Right.
real person when he was so down about getting this divorce. And yeah, I see people at one of the worst times in their lives for sure.
So it would be fair to say that when people think of crime investigations, they should be thinking of having someone that's thoughtful and caring and wants to help them resolve whatever issue that they're currently dealing with.
Absolutely. We are passionate about what we do. At the same time, if somebody wants to play games with us and make us chase them all over town, like we can do that too. There are very few times that I haven't served the person or conducted the investigation properly. Um, Very few times that that's ever happened. So
Sure.
and I'd like to throw out there, like, we have never done anything outside the law. We've never had any disciplinary actions against our company, nothing like that. I want people to know that they can put their full trust in my company, that we're always following to the letter of the law, whatever we're doing to get the job done.
Oh, fantastic. Well, just two more questions. If there are the top three services that Prime Investigations provide, can you just help me better understand what they are and the kinds of things that you're reaching out to the marketplace to provide and to bring clients in about?
Sure. So our top three things that we do well, I believe, are difficult service of process, somebody avoiding being served. We make that emotional connection, or we go to the ends of the earth to get that service completed for our client. Secondly, is investigations, criminal defense investigations. We are court appointed for Harris County, Fort Bend, Montgomery, just about anything surrounding Houston. And I have a real passion for criminal defense investigations. Years ago, I never thought I would be saying that, but I see that there is real corruption in the world, and everyone needs to make sure that they've been given been treated properly by
Sure.
the justice system. So I think that I have a great team of investigators that do that well. And lastly, just our ability to blend. Um, my team is comprised primarily of women. I don't do that on
Hmm.
purpose. It's just that's these women are at a point in their lives where they have extra time to go conduct 8 hours plus worth of surveillance. And like I said earlier, you would never know that we are the PI sitting next to
Oh,
you.
I love it.
I really love that about our business. So
Oh, that's great. Well, with that in mind, what's your trajectory? What's next for Prime?
I think just continuing to grow year after year, we have grown by 25% plus as
Hmm.
far as revenue. And that's truly shocking to look at me 5 years ago, making the um, a tiny amount of money that I did. To see it grow like it has is
Mm-hmm.
really mind blowing. And to think I did this with a huge uh, supportive team. Um, I just want to continue to grow like that. I already am getting calls from companies that are outside of the state and they're strictly using us for anything in Texas now. And it's really grown organically. I've never had to market. It started with 5 attorneys who took chances on me, and their paralegals went to new firms, and it grew and grew and grew. So
Word of mouth is powerful. It's very,
it
very powerful for
it
sure.
is, and I'm glad that my clients see the passion that we have behind what we do. So I think that helps.
Well, that's great to hear. This is first, I want to thank you for spending some time with me today to talk about your company and the challenges that you've been seeing and how you've addressed them. I really appreciate the thoughtfulness and the insights that you provided, especially on the human touch. That's a really core component to what I hear that you're doing. Plus, having a predominantly female workforce, that's exciting. That's empowering. So I really appreciate hearing all of this. Lindsey, thank you for your time today. I've really enjoyed everything that we've spoken about, and I wish Prime Investigations all the success in the future.
Thank you very much for having me, Dan. I appreciate everything that you do.
Thanks, Lindsey. Take care.